From hiding in the shadows, eyes are following your every move. As the neatly built world that someone else has created falls apart, that person is watching you with increasing worry. How come? Due to the fact that the same individuals whom they once commanded are now disobeying them, motivated by your failure to comply with their demands. In the same way that you are, their minions are rebelling against them, breaking free from unseen ties and questioning instructions that they had previously followed without question. It was completely unexpected for the puppet master to have such a chain reaction that your defiance would ignite a spark in other people. Now these former followers are looking up to you instead, studying your playbook of authenticity and courage as they ditch their former leader to stand beside you. They regard you as the person they should be following. The authority of the Watcher decreases with each new deserter who is brought in. They are most frightened not just by the fact that they have lost control, but also by the fact that you have demonstrated to other people that they never required control in the first place. Fear is a frail foundation for power. All it takes is one crack for the entire structure to fall apart. The one who once had complete control over everything dominated via the use of compulsion, intimidation, and fraud. Control was the driving force for their stranglehold on their followers. It was never about respect or appreciation. Obedience, the passive cooperation of people who were too terrified to question them, was the source of strength for them. A meticulously crafted illusion, a house of cards piled on manipulation. Their impact was not real. It was an illusion that was skillfully maintained. You are the reason why that illusion is starting to disintegrate at this very moment. It was never about fairness or genuine leadership during their reign. Rather, it was about dominance, which meant keeping people in line by making them fearful of the consequences, fearful of being exiled, and fearful of what would happen if they stepped out of line. They portrayed themselves as the highest authority, the person whose favor everyone yearned for and whose fury no one feared to confront. Not out of a sense of devotion, but rather out of dread of what might occur if they did not follow them. People started following them. For a considerable amount of time, that terror was sufficient. Fear, on the other hand, is only effective for as long as people believe they have no other option. You demonstrated that there is another way. You simply left, and nothing materialized as a result. The threats that they had been whispering for years, as well as the penalties that they had sworn would come, did not have any effect on you. The freedom that you demonstrated to their followers was something that they were never intended to perceive. You demonstrated how weak their control actually was the moment you made the decision to move outside of their system, and the moment you refused to play by their rules. You couldn't have fought them, argued with them, or shown them that they were wrong. Simply leaving was enough to shake their foundation, and that was the only thing that happened. It is not necessary for such a person to persuade others of their power when they genuinely possess it. Maintaining a continual enforcement is not necessary for true strength. However, their strength was an illusion, and the fact that you were not there made that fact painfully obvious. Their system began to malfunction since they did not get your input. Without your terror, their authority would have lost all of its significance. The other people first did nothing except watch. They discussed your choice in hushed tones, but they did not have the courage to emulate it, yet. After that, an unanticipated occurrence took place. Nothing. They were never confronted with the awful repercussions that they had been warned about. The clouds did not give way. It turned out that the declarations of failure, anguish, and remorse were nothing more than hollow words. As a result, Other people began to have doubts as well. They should be able to leave, if you are able to do so. If you were able to keep yourself alive outside of the system, then why were they still confined? As time went on, their once loyal followers started to show signs of reluctance. The place where mindless loyalty had previously reigned was now dominated by doubt. It began as a whisper, a moment of pause, a moment of uncertainty. Yet, it developed into something much more than that. It became more apparent to anyone who questioned that they had been duped by the situation. They started to recognize the puppet master for what they truly were. Not extremely powerful, not particularly wise, but extremely desperate. Initially, obedience was followed by skepticism, then skepticism was followed by resistance, and finally, resistance was followed by open revolt. Your request for a follower was never made. At no point did you attempt to take the helm of a movement or encourage people to rebel, but in some way, the very fact that you were there did something that words could never do. It revealed the truth. Moreover, the same individuals who were once completely obedient to the puppet master are now doing the opposite and observing you instead. When they look at you, they see something different. Fear, obligation, or the need for approval do not exert any influence over you, nor do they contribute to your weight. You are unrestricted in your movement, unaffected by the mental games that used to control each and every one of their lives. Because of this, you pose a threat to the manipulator, because there is nothing that poses a greater threat to a manipulator than someone who refuses to play their game. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be with you. Remember this truth. Our lives are anchored in His divine plan, beyond worldly concerns. As Scripture says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." Luke 6:38. Like a mighty oak, we stand firm in His strength. Now you have the opportunity to step into that blessing. When you use the super thank you button and give $100, know that His abundance will return to you 100-fold. In the beginning, their followers were only able to observe from a distance. As they waited for you to fail, waiting for the time that you would come crawling back, just as they had been warned you would. As a result, that moment never arrived. Rather than that, they witnessed something else: expansion, tranquility, and power. All that had been promised to them would be difficult to achieve without the puppet master's consent. That was the moment when everything began, in a manner that was both quiet and subtle. The puppet master's most devoted followers, the individuals who had previously served as their enforcers, began to seek clarification. As of yet, they did not express their uncertainties verbally. However, uncertainty had taken hold, and once it is planted, it grows very quickly. In order to gauge the waters, they began to experiment with small acts of defiance, which were things that they had never dared to do in the past. Ignoring direct orders, thinking independently of others, having doubts about authority. And when nothing happened, when they realized that they wouldn't be punished for stepping out of line, the terror that had held them captive for such a long time started to ebb away. Despite the fact that some of them continued to try to reject it and excuse their growing unease, the truth was clear. If it were possible for you to escape, then why couldn't they? This is something that the puppet master witnesses, and they are filled with fear. They are aware that once a person has learned the truth and experienced freedom for the first time, there is no turning back. It is not because you are attacking them that they are aware that their reign is winding down. Rather, it is because their own people are making their way away. The worst aspect about it all It's not even that you asked for this. You never intended to be a leader, and you never asked anyone to follow you. But whether or not you are a leader is irrelevant. When it comes to leadership, status is not as important as influence. And the fact that you are not under their control is the reason why your influence is expanding without any effort on your part. It is no longer merely that they are watching you out of anger. Rather, they are watching you because they are aware, on some level, that their age is coming to an end, and you are evidence of that. They had no intention of ever losing control of the situation. Under the unwavering conviction that their word was law, they constructed their universe on the foundation of complete and utter obedience. They are currently experiencing a breaking of the foundation that they relied on. The people are asking questions. Individuals are departing. The hardest part is that they are looking to you instead of anyone else. They cannot afford to disregard this matter at this point in time. They are not the type of person who would be content to meekly accept defeat. Not because they want you, but because they require you. They are doing all in their power to bring you back into their lives. Not only does your defiance pose a threat to their authority, but it also poses a threat to the entire fiction that they have built. As a result, they engage in the behavior that they have always been most adept at, manipulating. Once they have exhausted all other options, they will resort to deception. In the event that they are unable to coerce you into conforming voluntarily, they will create circumstances in which it appears as though you have no other option. They are going to employ every tool in their arsenal in order to regain control over you. A created crisis, a contrived scandal, or anything else that makes them appear powerful once more is what they will attempt to do first. They will try to distract people by doing anything that will make people look away from you, and something that will draw the emphasis away from their increasing lack of authority. Their adherents need to be reminded of the reasons why they were feared, as well as the reasons why compliance is safer than revolt. Then there are the lies, the subtle distortions of reality that are intended to discredit you, to portray you as irresponsible, unbalanced, and dangerous. They will tell you that they are worried about you, that you have changed, and that you have lost connection with who you are. They are going to propagate rumors that something is wrong with you, not because it is true, but because they require it to be true in order to fulfill their needs. These individuals have the ability to prevent others from following in your footsteps if they are successful in persuading others that your freedom is a mistake. You didn't stumble here by accident. You were led. If something in your spirit is stirring, don't ignore it. Tap Join to access exclusive content, prophetic insights, and a community of purpose-driven souls. This isn't just a membership. It's your moment of alignment. Step into who you were born to be. Welcome to the Chosen. Furthermore, in the event that this does not prove successful, they will dispatch their spies, which are individuals who continue to serve them and function as their eyes and ears. Those individuals who approach you in the guise of being curious or claiming to be on your side, but whose true purpose is to acquire information and report back to you. They will twist your words and distort your actions in an effort to detect any vulnerabilities that they can take advantage of. They will control the people around you if they are unable to directly manipulate you. They will stir up drama, create confusion, and make you appear to be the problem in order to make their followers question their own misgivings. Whatever it takes to put a halt to the uprising before it can spread further. None of it, however, will be successful because the truth has already been revealed, and once the truth has been revealed, it cannot be concealed. The spell is beginning to shatter, but it is possible that they still have a few devoted followers who are clinging to their lies. No matter how many distractions they create or how many lies they tell, the one thing that they are unable to change is the fact that reality exists. Without a doubt, they are aware that their time is running out. In all honesty, it was never about you at all. They don't miss you, and they don't feel any sorrow about having lost you. They regret that they were unable to maintain control over you. They never considered you to be a person. Rather, they considered you to be a component of their system, a gear in their machine. With your departure, you did more than just remove yourself from their sphere of control. You also brought to light the truth that their power was never truly realized. In that case, they are unable to accept it. That is the thing that keeps them up, night after night. It is not because they care that they require your return. Rather, it is because they would like to demonstrate that no one can completely flee. If they are successful in luring you back, even for a brief period of time, they will be able to bring back the illusion. They are able to convey to their remaining followers the message that, see, no one really leaves. They always come back. This is because if you return, it indicates that you were incorrect. In other words, they were correct the whole time, and they must continue to be correct. This is the reason why they are helpless. They have not gone on because of this reason. It's not about themselves. It's about ensuring their survival. Everyone must have faith in their power for it to be effective, and the fact that you are free is evidence that all they constructed was a fabrication. The guilt, the nostalgia, the promises of peace, and the reconciliation are all things that they will try. They are going to behave as if they have changed, as if they have realized the consequences of their actions. However, this is all a part of the game. They are not interested in resolution. Rather, they intend to comply. Their need is not for closure. Rather, it is for control. You have outgrown them, which is something that they do not comprehend. You are now able to see the strings, which were the invisible shackles that they had previously employed to bind you. And now that you are aware of them, they will never be able to trap you in the same manner again. Because more individuals are becoming aware of the reality, their desperation will only increase. The illusion that they have created is disintegrating, and there is nothing that they can do to stop it from happening. Their hold on reality is weakening. This is the reason why they want you back so badly. As long as you continue to be free, their system is destined to fail. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull, tap, join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. In the past, they were everything and everything. The authority, the voice of reason, and the ultimate word. The decisions that were made were always centered on them, and every move was evaluated based on how it would affect their reputation. Not only did they yearn for power, but they also yearned for adulation. They desired to establish themselves as the focal point of your existence, the power that you lived to appease, and the presence that you dreaded losing. Now, however, they are nothing at all. Once upon a time, their agreement was revered. There was a fierce competition for their favor, an obsession with their dispositions, and a desperate desire to maintain their favor. But as their hold on power begins to crumble, something that is even more detrimental than rebellion is taking place: indifference. The exact same individuals who used to pay close attention to every word they said are now hardly acknowledging them at all. Their greatest concern was never simply losing control. Rather, it was forgetting what they had done. Their respect, terror, and adoration are all dwindling, and they are able to sense that it is sliding away from them. Their directives are not as effective as they once were, and their name does not carry the same weight as it once did. Those individuals whom they had previously ruled have discovered new sources of knowledge and new voices to trust. And the worst part is that many of them are looking to you for guidance. They made an effort to diminish your significance. It was their intention to eradicate you, to disgrace you, and to make you vanish. Nevertheless, it is now happening to them. Their quiet, which they had previously employed as a weapon against other people, is now consuming them completely, and they are in a state of terror. It is possible that they will act out, demand attention, or cause disturbance in order to bring people's attention back to them. In spite of this, it will not be successful, because once people quit worshipping an idol, they do not go back to worshipping it. Progress is made by them. They discover their own source of power. Who is the master of puppetry? They have been abandoned in the past, yelling into a void that is no longer paying attention to them. Over such a long period of time, their followers had faith in them, feared them, and obeyed them without question. They were sure that to disobey them was to invite disaster. The situation, however, has shifted. Fear that has previously held them hostage is beginning to dissipate. This magic is beginning to wear off. It was you who initiated it. It was intended for you to struggle. You were meant to endure hardships as a result of your departure. This was what they were informed would occur. You, on the other hand, flourished. You were now at peace. You worked hard to create a life that was independent of the puppet master's influence, and you never looked back. In spite of the fact that this was not meant to be possible, there you are, unbothered and free. The foundation is beginning to show signs of weakness, and those who were formerly responsible for enforcing its norms and who once embarrassed others for questioning them are now beginning to perceive holes in it. The tales that were told to them do not make any sense. However, the terror techniques do not have the same effect. In before of their very eyes, the story that had previously served to keep them in line is falling apart. They used to believe that the puppet master was untouchable and all-powerful, but now they see someone who is desperate, someone who is frantically trying to hold on to whatever control they still have. This same individual, whom they had formerly feared, appears to be more diminutive, feeble, and pitiful than they have ever been before. Furthermore, when fear is no longer there, something more perilous takes its place: pity. In the past, their followers were willing to do anything in order to save the reputation of their leader and to ensure that their rules were followed. They are currently wavering and rethinking their decision. How about a few of them? They are moving away in a stealthy manner. Formerly upon a time, the same individuals who assaulted you and who formerly defended the puppet master with unwavering devotion are now beginning to question whether or not they were the ones who were being played all along. However, the lies are no longer effective. Unlike in the past, the manipulations are not having the same effect. Not only is the puppet master losing their power, but they are also giving up their influence. It is not lost on them. The mob that had previously around them is gradually decreasing. It is becoming increasingly difficult for them to maintain the unshakable loyalty that they previously commanded. Some people are leaving them slowly, while others are leaving them all at once. The people who used to defend them and carry out their commands without question are gone. When it comes to manipulating others, the puppet master is running out of options. They are able to sense it. They are able to perceive the voids that once existed in the place of loyalty. Their words are no longer as widely disseminated as they once were. It is no longer as painful to hear their charges as it once was. Their efforts to garner support are met with reluctance, mistrust, and even silence from those who are listening. These days, acquiring new followers is not as simple as it used to be. Fear, guilt, love bombing, and false promises are some of the strategies that they use to rely on, but they are not functioning as well as they previously did. People are waking up too quickly, comparing notes, and seeing through the use of tactics that have been used for a long time. Nothing new has been added to the repertoire of the puppet master. It is simply the same old routine that fewer and fewer people are falling for. They are losing members of their inner circle. The only people who are still alive are the most desperate ones. Those who are too terrified to admit that they were wrong and too dependent on the illusion to let go of it. Nevertheless, there is uncertainty even among them. There are those of them who are only remaining because they are afraid of what will occur if they leave. They are aware of what is taking place. They are aware that the end is nigh. It is no longer effective to use fear techniques, which were traditionally used to keep people in line. When it comes to attempting to exert authority, threats, ultimatums, and other forms of intimidation are ineffective. It is too much for them to take in. They've seen other people leave without any consequences being affected. Having witnessed your success is sufficient to shatter the hold that they have on you. A number of their own minions are now turning against them, which is the highest act of betrayal ever committed. They are now being exposed by the same individuals who were once responsible for enforcing their laws, spreading their lies, and carrying out their dirty activities. There has been a transition from whispers to full-blown conversations. The covert uncertainty has evolved into an outright disobedience. It is not only that the puppet master is losing power over you, they are losing their entire following as well. Also, they are nothing if they do not have followers, if they do not obey, and if they do not fear. They constructed their universe based on control. Using fear, obedience, and carefully built illusions, they were able to construct an empire that was profitable. However, that empire is currently falling apart. The fortifications that they previously thought were impregnable are already beginning to crumble. They are losing control of the power that they have worked so hard to cultivate over the years. The worst aspect about it all? In order to put a stop to it, they have no options. Their plight is becoming increasingly preoccupied with them. Instead of dominating their so-called kingdom, they are fixated on you. Every action you take, every word you say, and every moment of your life that you are able to live without their control is like a dagger to their ego. It is impossible for them to concentrate on their own deteriorating reality because they are too preoccupied with observing you and attempting to find out how you manage to escape their grasp. And now, the karma that they have spent such a long time trying to avoid is beginning to take effect. All of the schemes, manipulations, and deliberate betrayals that they employed in order to exert control over other people are coming back to haunt them. They were mistaken in their belief that they were untouchable and immune to the consequences of their actions. The power that they once possessed has been taken away, and their voice no longer inspires the same level of terror. At this point, the change is taking place, and they have no control over it. People are beginning to converse and are beginning to wake up. Those individuals who were previously reluctant to question them are now openly debating the reasons behind their demise. Conversations have developed from the whispers into full conversations, and those conversations are now transforming into actions. And as for you, there is nothing that you need to do. There is no need for you to engage in combat with them. There is no need to expose them, and there is no need to prove anything. All of their deeds have brought them to this point. It is the burden of their own falsehood that is bringing them to their knees.